Born into a life of slavery on February 11, 1813, Harriet Ann Jacobs
never knew it till 6 years of happy childhood had passed away,
along with her mother. Jacobs was left in the care of her mother's mistress, who
promised that her children should never suffer for anything, and during her lifetime she kept her word.
She taught Harriet to read and write, a privilege most slaves could not even dream about. Jacobs refers to her time with her mother's mistress
as happy days, too happy to last.
Upon the death of her new mistress, Harriet was willed to her mistress's 5-year-old daughter and sent to live in Norcom's home. Little did Jacobs know her life would take a turn for the worst here. Dr. Norcom took a special interest in Jacobs not giving in to his request for having sexual relations with him, like most all of the other slave girls were forced to do. Jacobs tried to keep her distance, but
he had an iron will and was determined to keep me and to conquer me.
Dr. Norcom even went as far as having a cottage built for her. Here he planned to isolate her and keep her to himself. Seeing no other way out, Harriet went against her family's Christian beliefs and became pregnant out of wedlock by a white man, Samuel Sawyer. She believed this would force Dr. Norcom into losing interest in her. This only made him more possessive. Jacobs had 2 children with Sawyer, Joseph and Louisa.
Had it not been for these ties to life, I should have been glad to be released by death, though I had only lived 19 years.
Jacobs, now desperate for escape from a life of misery, feared not only for herself but also for her children. She ran away from the Norcoms. She didn't run far, though, only to a crawl space right under the roof of her grandmother's house, where
there was no admission for either light or air. I thus succeeded in making one hole about 1 inch long and 1 inch broad.
It was through this hole in which Jacobs could only watch her children play for the remainder of her 7 long years in hiding. Jacobs finally made her escape to the north with her children by a ship headed to Philadelphia. Here she was employed by the Willis family. Dr. Norcom still pursued her even several years after her escape. She received word from her grandmother that Dr. Norcom had died. This still, however, did not bring peace to Jacob's mind. Dr. Norcom's daughter was now of age to own her slave and married to a man just as eager to find and claim Jacobs as his property. Jacob, still finding herself in hiding, unknowingly had her freedom bought by Miss Willis for $300. Harriet Ann Jacobs is now famous for incidents in the life of a slave girl. The actual names in the book were changed, and for almost a century the author was questioned. It was not until 1987 that Jacobs was credited for her work.
Reader, my story ends with freedom, not in the usual way with marriage.
She left the earth as a free woman on March 7, 1897.